Hi everyone, welcome to Jump In and Dive with me. I'm Marissa and I'm a PADI Master Scuba Diver. And today I'm going to be talking about two shipwrecks that I experienced where I felt high anxiety, and for the first time in my life I felt claustrophobia. I'm going to split it up into two parts. So I'm going to talk about the Vickery today, and then I'm going to talk about the Keystorm in a couple days. They're both in Alexandria Bay. Don't forget to check out next week's episode where I go over 5 tips to prevent and overcome fear and anxiety at depth. So let's dive right in. The first dive I'm going to talk about today is the AE Vickery, and this shipwreck is in Alexandria Bay, New York. A little bit of backstory on this. So at this point, myself and those that I dove with that day were all advanced open water certified, which means we can dive up to 100 feet. This dive particular was supposed to be my first required dive for my deep dive specialty. So right off the bat, this is going to be my deepest dive. We're all on the boat and we're getting geared up, and there was talk about the current, that this shipwreck does have a stronger current, and Dana, who's the boat captain, said on this particular day the current was a little stronger. But I was trying not to think about it too much because I was already a little nervous about going deeper than I've ever gone. So I didn't want to have multiple things on my mind that had me worried. But then Dana said to everyone, please don't let go of the chain because I'll have to shut the whole shipping channel down and it'll just be a bad day for everyone. And I really don't want to do that. So now I'm thinking, well, how strong is this current? So now I'm kind of having the current on my mind, kind of worried about that too. Tim, my dive instructor, his name is Tim Gula. He's a PADI course director, and he is absolutely amazing. So if anyone wants to get certified, reach out to me. I'll give you his info. He said because of the current, we're going to do a negative entry, which means, so typically when you jump in, you have air in your BCD and you kind of float at the surface. And when you guys are all ready to descend, you deflate your BCD and you go down. With a negative entry, you have little to no buoyancy already. So when you jump in, you kind of just sink and you make your descent from there. So the plan was to do a negative entry, go underwater and grab the chain and just start going down. But everyone's jumping in. There's divers before us going down and making their descent. Tim jumps in before I do. And right off the bat, he feels disoriented. He feels dizzy. He doesn't feel right. So he calls his dive. This is before I even get in the water. He calls his dive, and it kind of changes things for me a little bit because I trust him in the water. This was supposed to be my deepest dive yet, and now he wasn't going to be there. So now I have on my mind, my deepest dive, the current's going to be really strong. Tim's not there. Okay. So instead of Tim diving, Dana decides to get on his gear and he'll go in. And this is my first time meeting Dana. I never dove with him before. He's the boat captain. He knows the waters really well, and he knows the wreck, and he knows the current. I mean, okay, I'm gonna do it. Dana jumps in, and I jump in after him, and I'm underwater, and I grab the chain right away. I can feel that the current is stronger, much stronger than I had anticipated. And all I'm thinking to myself is, do not let go of this chain, do not let go of this chain. I'm pulling myself along, and I wasn't lightly pulling, I was pulling myself along. Like, this was not an easy current to go against, and it felt like a workout, it really did. Dana's going down, and he's kind of right next to me, maybe a little bit in front of me, and we make it to the platform. And the platform is about 30 to 40 feet below the surface. I felt the shallow, rapid breathing that I had, but I kind of just wrote it off as, well, I just did a workout. Like, I'm out of breath because that was a workout trying to pull myself down this chain. I kept telling myself, Marissa, you're fine. It's all in your head. You got this. Don't worry about a thing. And I can kind of laugh about it now because it happened. Everyone's fine and I'm fine, and nothing crazy even happened, but it's just the fear and anxiety that I had. So we leave the platform. And this is kind of when things turn up a notch with my anxiety. The shallow, rapid breathing that I thought was from a workout, it turned into not the good kind of shallow, rapid breathing. I was really, really kind of starting to freak out. And so I'm pulling myself down. And I look over at Dana, and I'm struggling for my life over here. I'm holding on for dear life, trying not to let go. He's not even holding on to the darn chain. He's got his hands behind his back. He's just streamlining the current like this. And he's looking like the most graceful fish I'd ever seen in my life in the water. He's doing it so effortlessly. And I'm looking at him. How are you doing this? How are you even? I was in awe. I really was. I never told him that, but he'll see this video. I couldn't believe it. Because if I let go, I'm 118 pounds. So if I let go, I'm not gonna just float away casually and he'll be able to grab me in a second and I'll be able to swim back and grab the chain. If I let go, I'm gonna be gone. And all I'm gonna see is Dana trying to grab me, and I'm gonna see his graceful streamlining get smaller and smaller in the distance. And then Tim on the boat is gonna see an SMB pop up in the water way down the river. That's gonna be me. This is my situation. That's gonna be me. What am I gonna do? I'm freaking out. I look at him and I'm like, wow, he's really good. I was very impressed. Really, really good. So I'm on the struggle bus. I'm struggling. And we get down to 75 feet and I have my hand on the ship. Finally, I made it to the ship. Anxiety and all. And any other day, this would be amazing because I think shipwrecks are fascinating, but today was not my day. And being on this wreck at this particular time, I was not happy, to say the least. Dana and I talked about it later on and he knew something was wrong. Yes, sir, it was wrong. Yes. So the way the Vickery is set up, when you get down to the shipwreck, we came down on the port side. So the chain goes down to the left side of the ship, and then to see the rest of the ship, you have to let go of the chain and go around the bow, and then you can see the rest of the ship. At this point, I'm not feeling good. I have high anxiety and my heart's racing, and I let go of the chain. I'm going along up to the bow of the ship and I stop because I start to get tunnel vision, and just black on all sides just starts to close in on me, which is bad, which is really, really, really bad. Anyone who has experienced high anxiety at this level and has experienced these kind of things that are happening to them know that once you get, for me anyway, once you get the tunnel vision, once you get the rapid breathing and the shallow breaths and the chest tightening and the heart racing, for me, hyperventilating is the next step. Probably within 3 minutes, not even. Okay. So this is where I was at. And I had two options. Should I stay or should I go? I had to put it in there. Okay. I've had experiences with panic attacks before, years ago, like probably over 10 years ago was my last true panic attack. I'm always able to pull myself out of them. But in this particular case, I feel like I had too many things going against me. I had the current that I was thinking about. I had, this being my deepest dive. I had, as I went deeper, it was getting darker. I had all that in my mind. And my chest was like really tight, and I had all my gear on, which was constricting, which doesn't help in this panicky situation at all. And plus I was 75 feet underwater. So many things were running through my mind at this point, and I decided to call the dive because if I stayed, it was just gonna be bad for everyone and I was gonna ruin the day, and I just didn't wanna do that. If I, decide to call a dive and realize that I'm not in the right mindset to do this dive right now, considering everything that has been going on, and I need to come back at a later time. Like the ship's not going anywhere, so I can come back at a later time and do the dive when I'm more prepared for it. So I call a dive and I tell him, I go like this, which means like something's not right. I said, which means I need to go up. So he tells the other divers and we turn around and go back up and we do our safety stop. I pop my head above the water and Tim right away, what's going on? What's happening? I said, Tim, not today. It is not happening today. I told him the truth. When I got back up on the boat, I said, I didn't expect the current to be so strong. And I was really scared that if I somehow slipped my hand, like my grip, or if I let go, that I was not gonna come back. Like I was gonna be downways, pop my head above the water with my S&B, and there's gonna be a huge ship that's gonna just run me over. I was freaked out. Everything, and I told him, I said, I trust you in the water, this being my deepest dive. Everything that had happened, like you calling your dive, kind of freaked me out. And there were so many things that just were not working for me that day. And this was a year and a half ago, so this was 2023, and I still have yet to go back on this wreck. And I'm ready for it. I know what to expect now. I know how strong the current is, and I want to do it. Like, I am ready for it. So it'll happen. With the Vickery and the anxiety that I had, it just goes to show you that before I even got in the water, my mind wasn't 100% on board with this dive. I had my doubts, and I feel like if I would have just listened to myself, none of that would have happened. And I did make it down to 75 feet. It was my deepest dive at that point, but I guess it was a learning experience. I made the choice. I made the right choice to call it when I did. Nothing crazy happened, but the feeling of the anxiety just taking over is extremely overwhelming, because when you're underwater, you're breathing out of a regulator. You have your mask on. I want to say, I don't think I had my hood on. I don't think I did. I think the water was really warm that day. But you have all this gear on, and it's just tight around you, and it's, not super tight, but it's constricting, especially when you're feeling panic. It feels like it's just gripping you. And there were so many factors that I wasn't ready for the dive, and I'm happy I called it when I did. We were supposed to do the Vickery last year. There was talk about it, but last year we had to get all of our dives in for our specialties. So there was a lot of required dives all of us had to do to get them all done. So we ended up doing the Keystorm, which ironically is my next shipwreck that I wanted to talk about, where I felt claustrophobia for the first time. So we'll get into that in a couple days, and we'll see you then. Bye.